Hey, good day, folks. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I know I cannot complain. I welcome you to another episode of Andrew's Life. Uh, on this video, I will be giving you guys a tour of Marion, Indiana. Now, I have done a video of Marion, Indiana already. In fact, I think I may have done a couple of them. But that was 3 years ago when I first began this channel. I've had a couple of requests to do another Marion, Indiana video. Now, last time I did Marion, I only covered a small section of the city. I believe I covered the section of the city that had the cheaper price houses, because when I first began this channel, the direction I was going with that channel was slightly different than the direction that I chose to take at this point with this channel. So anyways, I come back to you with another Marion, Indiana video. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, there will be another Marion, Indiana video after this one. So stay tuned for that video. So let's get started here. As you guys know, at this point, I am driving through Marion, Indiana. The population here is 27,757 people. And the city has been losing population at a rate of 7% as of the 2020 census. Now, Marion, Indiana is an hour south of Fort Wayne. It is an hour and a half north of Indianapolis. And for other cities, and in a little bit here, you're gonna understand why I'm giving out this extra information. It is 45 minutes away from Anderson, and it is also within an hour of Marion. Within a half hour of Marion, you got Huntington, Indiana, and you got Warren, Indiana. Now, the crime in Marion is now, as far as it goes for violent crime, the violent crime is about average. Your property crime is 57% above national average. Now, for those of you that don't know a lot about Marion, Indiana, in a nutshell, this city is considered a Rust Belt city. It used to be back in the day, it used to be an industrial city. A lot of people moved here during the 20th century. A lot of people moved here for industrial work. Now, I will say, now fast forwarding a little bit, I will say to this day, there still are industrial jobs to be had here in Marion, just not near as many as there used to be. But Marion, Indiana first began as an agricultural city. Then for a short period of time during the mid-19th century, this city, along with many other cities in northeast Indiana, has experienced an oil boom. Now, the oil boom didn't hit Marion. Marion didn't have as much of an oil boom as some of its neighboring cities up north did. But then once the oil boom ended, it ended a little bit before before World War I. So after the oil boom ended, in came the industrial era. So ever since that point on, Marion has always been known to be a industrial city. And today, Marion is a Rust Belt city. And some people might say that what is here in Marion today is a shell of what the city used to be, or what the city could be once again, provided that the leadership in this city was better. Now, I've lived in Indiana since 2010. I lived in Indiana from 2010 up until roughly about a year and a half or so ago. Now, Marion, in my opinion, has seen its better days. Now, could Marion come back and be a better city than what it currently is? It could. But at this point, in my opinion, Marion has seen its better days. And there's a few people that I spoke to briefly about this city before I came here to record this video. And many people would say the same thing. In fact, if you go back to some of my older videos I made of Marion, there's people in the comment sections of those videos that argued with me about Marion. Because when I first made my when I made my first videos of Marion, I basically told people that Marion was a decent place to live. It's nice and quiet. If you're looking for a quiet, small city to live because you didn't have the money to live out in the country or whatnot, Marion would be a decent alternative. And there were and there were some people in the comment section that disagreed strongly with that statement. Now, like I said, my first videos I made in Marion, I did not cover near the amount of the city as I'm covering on this video, and I will also cover on my next Marion, Indiana video as well. But I will say, after driving through this city thoroughly, which you guys will see on these videos that I'm making, this one and the next one coming up at some point, I'm going to just tell you guys right now, in my humble opinion, this city has had its better days. I mean, there's a lot of urban decay throughout the entire city. Even in the section of the city that is said to, that some people might say is one of the better parts of the city, you're going to go over there and you're going to still experience a little bit of, well, urban decay. Like, even in the better parts of the city, so to speak, if you drive down some of those streets, you'll see houses that have been burnt. I mean, I'm not sure what's causing all these house fires, but it seems like as I drive through the streets, there's been quite a bit of house fires. So maybe somebody in the comment sections can let me know what's causing all the housing fires. Now, if I had to take a wild guess, I might say that you may have had a homeless issue here in the city, where people who are homeless, they may have squatted in some of these houses, and then when it got cold during the winter, they try to come up with some sort of a makeshift remedy to warm themselves up, due to there being no utilities cut on at many of these vacant houses. So I'm guessing a lot of these individuals tried their remedy and they failed miserably, and it resulted in a house fire. And the only other guess that I can think of is some of these houses may have been owned by people that may have been investors, or people that may have not had a bunch of money. So when it came to having to get certain work done to their homes, such as electrical, rather than hiring someone with the proper license and certification, some of these individuals may have hired some idiot that they met at the freaking grocery store that was talking all that talk about how they knew and know and what they're doing, and then they did the work, And for a while, everything was working like it was supposed to. And then one day, you know, the house may have went up in flames because that individual didn't know what they were doing. I mean, they could have installed the wrong grid wires. They could have, I mean, any number of things could have happened. Because in a lot of these lower income communities especially, you know, a lot of times people don't have the money to hire the proper personnel to do certain type of work. So they hire the cheapest person who will be able to come and do the work the quickest. But unfortunately, that those type of people may not be, you know, they may not know how to do it correctly in accordance to the code. Now, there are some people that also told me that this city had a large issue with meth. A lot of people here tend to abuse meth. So at first I was thinking, okay, some of these house fires could be because you may have people cooking meth and it went bad and it resulted in a lot of these houses catching on fire. Now, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I don't know a lot about meth. I mean, like, as far as what a meth fire looks like, all I can do is speculate. Now, I've been told that if a house caught on fire due to a meth lab going bad, typically it could result in either a large gap and hole being in the roof, or it could result in the house basically busting in half or busting in pieces. Now, the type of fires that you guys will see on this video, the type of burnt houses that you guys will see on this video, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but in my opinion, these burnt houses do not look like the work of a meth lab going bad. It looks like the work of what I was discussing earlier, either faulty wiring by contractors that didn't know what they were doing, or people who were homeless and they were trying to create a way to keep themselves warm, and it went bad and the house caught on fire as a result. So anyways, now recently there's been a lot of negative talk about cities like Anderson, Indiana. And, you know, hey, I hate to say it, but yeah, Anderson, Indiana does have its fair share of problems. Definitely. But I would say Marion, in my opinion, is in worse condition than Anderson is in. In fact, I would say if you're looking to live in a smaller city with an element of diversity here in the state of Indiana, I mean, I would say, just off the cuff, I would say rather than moving here to Marion, I would advise people to check out Anderson, which is only 45 minutes down the road. Now, granted, if you're looking to live closer to Northeast Indiana, I would say if you have the money, it's going to be worth every penny of whatever extra money that you would have to pay to just go ahead and buy you a house in somewhere maybe in the quiet section of Fort Wayne. Now, typically, I've always looked at smaller cities like this as being a better alternative for people that are financially challenged as opposed to living in a major city. But after being through Fort Wayne and then being through this city a few times, I will say that out of the two, I rather, if somebody were to come to me and they were to ask me, hey, I'm looking for some low price housing, where should I look? I will tell them that if you have a little extra money, you will be much better off looking into Fort Wayne or checking out Anderson. And that will be provided that you're looking to live somewhere that's not in the major. That would be provided that you're looking to live somewhere that's got a little bit of diversity. Now, however, if you're one of these people that you really could care less about diversity, you're just looking for a smaller community to live, you do not want to live in a metro for nothing, then, as I've told you at the beginning of the video, you're within a half hour of Huntington or Warren. And speaking of which, you're only about a half hour or so from Alexandria, Indiana, which them little smaller cities, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, especially Alexandria, I mean, there used to be a time that I would have told you guys, yes, if I was in your shoes, hands down, I would move to Alexandria. But, due to a few negative experiences that I've endured living in some of these small towns throughout America, I'm not as sold on Alexandria as I was, let's say, a few years ago. I'll just keep it like that. But anyhow, if you just want to live somewhere in a small town, don't want to live in a metro, like I said, you got Huntington, Warren, and you got Alexandria. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys that I personally would live in any of those cities. In fact, I wouldn't. Honestly, I'd rather pay a little extra money and deal with a little extra traffic and live somewhere in Fort Wayne. But that's me. Now, I would say if you're super hard up for money and you're looking to live in a city that's got some super duper cheap housing, this city here in Marion, Indiana, might be your place. Because to be quite frank, there is not too many places that I have been to recently here in the state of Indiana where you're gonna find houses for cheaper than what you'll find here in Marion. I mean, I would say a couple of years ago, it used to be a toss-up, like when it came to which city had the best housing prices. I would say 2-3 years ago, Marion, Indiana housing prices were about the same. But anymore, Marion, hands down, is going to have a larger selection of lower price houses compared to Anderson. However, as I told you before, the condition of Anderson is better than the condition of Marion. I mean, Anderson's got issues too, but I believe that Marion, Indiana has got more issues than Anderson. Now, of course, if you want to live in Anderson, of course, is going to put you a little closer to the Indianapolis' economy as opposed to the Fort Wayne economy, which greater Indianapolis' economy is decent. In fact, it's bigger than the economy in Fort Wayne, because greater Indianapolis is a far bigger metro than Fort Wayne's. So That would be one plus about living in Anderson over Marion. And for that matter, there's also a lot of other smaller cities that are all within an hour of Fort Wayne, which I have done videos of those cities that you guys will be seeing on this channel shortly. So, you know, once you see those videos, you know, again, I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about those places, but once you see those videos, you can make a decision on whether that would be a right choice for you. But there's a plethora of smaller communities all within an hour of Fort Wayne that would offer you a much better quality of life than what you'll receive here in Marion. Now, you know, so yeah, let's see here, what else here? Now, speaking of the housing here in Marion, your median home price is going to be $104,000. Now, with that being said, you can actually purchase a home here in Marion for far less than $104,000 if you don't mind living in the hood. Like when I first began this video, I was in the hood. I was in one of the hoods, I should say, because this city's got more than just one hood. But I would say if you don't mind living in one of the hoods of this city, there's houses for sale for as low as $20-some thousand. And there's a fair amount of houses here in the city of Marion that you can buy for well below $104,000 that are at least habitable. Now, many of those houses will need a little bit of work, and I would say most of those houses at that price are going to be in the hood. But if you're hard up on your finances and you do not want to rent and you prefer to be a homeowner, that is always an option here in Marion. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, people. And as far as it goes for the racial makeup of Marion, you got 74.4% white, 15% black. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the Midwest, maybe you might be moving up here from the South, for an example. Now, if you come across a city that's got 15% black, that is actually the average black population in many Midwestern cities is going to be 12 to 13%. So if you the fact that the black population here in Marion is 15%, that is actually a tad above the average black population for many of your Midwestern cities. Then you got 1.4% Asian and 5.7% Hispanic. So Marion is a fairly diverse city. Like I told you guys before, if you're looking for a smaller city that's diverse, Marion will definitely have you covered. It's just that many of your neighborhoods throughout the city are a bit ran down. You've got a bunch of houses that have been burnt. And like I said, just in my opinion, Marion done seen its better days. Now, if you're looking to live here in Marion, Indiana, just to be fair, you know, let's talk about some of the entertainment that's here in Marion. Now, of course, in Marion, there's not going to be a whole lot to do because it's a smaller city. If you're looking for something a little more exciting than what I'm getting ready to name off on my list, then I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're going to move to Marion, just plan to drive an hour up into Fort Wayne for most of your entertainment needs. However, if you're not really big on entertainment and the small stuff gets you excited, then here in Marion, you can go to Matter Park and Garden. I mean, typically during the warmer months, they have a garden that is very nice. It's beautiful, full of flowers. And they also got a park there. And during the warmer months, you can go to the Splash House. You also got the Marion Riverwalk. You got Walnut Creek Golf. You got two golf courses here you got two golf courses here in the city. I think one is in the city. I mean, they both might be in the city limits. I think they're both in the city. But anyways,
different up here.
You got Walnut Creek and Shady Hills golf courses. And you can always go to the AMC movie theater, which is located right off of the main strip on Indiana 9. And you got Bonzo's Fun Zone for the children. It's basically an amusement. It's basically a amusement park. Not amusement park, but it's more or less of an entertainment center for kids. You know, they got like all type of toys they got all type of arcade video games, and there's like all type of I don't know what they call them, but it's one of them type of. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff at that place. I mean, they got a little area where kids can bounce around on these rubber mats. I'm not sure what they call it. I forgot. But anyhow, if you got children and you're looking to get them up out of the house, take them to the Bonzo's Fun Zone. And you also got Crest Lane's Bowling. And as far as a little bit of history about Marion, the city of Marion was named after Francis Marion, a military general from South Carolina. And he was in the American Revolutionary War. And Marion, of course, is the home of Indiana Wesleyan University. Now, I meant to give you people a tour, an exterior tour of that college, but I didn't get to. Time was just real short, so my apologies. But just know that the Wesleyan University College is going to be located on the far south side of the city. It is the largest Christian university in the Midwest. It's the largest evangelical Christian university in the Midwest. And Marion, Indiana is also the birthplace of actor James Dean and the cartoonist Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield. I'm pretty sure most of you who watch my channel, you're around my age, so I'm pretty sure that you guys clearly remember the days where you used to get up, eat your breakfast, and then sit on the couch or on your chair or whatever and watch a Garfield episode or two or few or many. Now, for interesting facts, at least for some of you that might be a sport fan, from 1900 to 1901, Marion had its own baseball team. Now, the last lynching that happened here in Marion, Indiana, was a lynching of 1930. So I'm going to give you guys just a brief history of the 1930 lynching here in Marion, Indiana. On the 7th of August of 1930, there were a total of, well, first of all, there were a total of 3 African American men that were locked up together in jail, because they were locked up because they were accused of violating a white woman and deleting her boyfriend at the time. Now, one of the alleged suspects was spared of being lynched. The other 2, unfortunately, were not spared. They were both lynched. So basically, I'm gonna just run it down real quick. So yeah, on the 7th of August of 1930, 2 African American men were lynched by a white mob of 5,000 people. The names of the 3 men were Thomas Skip, Abraham Smith, and James Cameron. Now, James Cameron was the one that was spared because a witness came forth and stated that James Cameron was not involved in the alleged crime that the 3 men were accused of. The 3 men were locked up in the county jail because they were accused of violating a white woman and deleting her boyfriend. Cameron was later saved, like I told you a minute ago, when a witness stated he had nothing to do with the crime. However, Cameron was still convicted of accessory to deletion. Cameron became a civil rights activist and found 2 chapters of the local NAACP at that time. In 1988, Cameron found the America's Black Holocaust Museum, which is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to preserve the history of African American lynchings. So that's just a brief history of the lynching of 1930. I think I take back what I told you the other day. Only do that if you're just down on your luck and you ain't got no money and you're going to be in a situation again.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are good parts of the city, but still.
These are the affordables.
Even with the housing prices going up, I still probably wouldn't be around here. But yeah, honestly, when I first came to Marion to record this video, I mean, you know, like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you people. I truly had no idea how much this city has deteriorated over the last, I'll just say, probably the last, 20 years or so. I have no idea. I knew it was like this. Like I said, when I first came to Marion to record a few years ago, when I first began this channel, I mean, I knew Marion, Indiana had some issues. I mean, clearly I knew this city had hoods. Like that mess. I just didn't know to what extent. And I'm pretty sure even within the few years that I began this channel, the conditions of Marion continued to deteriorate. Because if I can remember correctly, the population of Marion a few years ago was reported to be a little over 28,000 people.
Hello, Moto.
Alright, give me 1 second, people. Little detour here. Alright, anyways, sorry about that. So yeah, I really had no idea of how much the city has deteriorated over the last several years. I mean, as you guys can see, this city still does have pockets that are still in decent condition, to where the neighborhoods are still half decent, and people have an element of pride in their community and neighborhood and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, the whole entire city is not ran down. It's just that significant parts of the city is ran down. And honestly, I was going to save this for my next video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you this on this video. Now, for those of you that are looking to move to Marion, Indiana, I mean, my suggestion would be to either A, move to the south end of the city, or B, move to the outskirts of the city. Which I think they are. So that would be my suggestion for those that want to move here to Marion. Either move to the south side of the city or move to the outskirts. Those are going to be the best parts of the city to live, where the neighborhoods are going to look the nicest and the crime is going to be the lowest. Oh my gosh, nice bumps. Now I will say as far as it goes for the core of the city, I mean, yeah, you'll find a few neighborhoods here and there that are half decent. But, you know, it's going to pretty much be a hit and miss type of a situation. Where you can get a house for
100,000?
Yeah.
This area?
So that's my 2 cents about Marion. I'm going to let you guys watch the remainder of this video. And I got one more video coming up with Marion, Indiana, so stay tuned for that video. That video, of course, is going to have a different section of the city on it. So, until next time, y'all have a blessed one. And as always, I thank every last one of you for tuning in to another episode of Andrew's Life. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing that. Consider subscribing to the channel. Probably. If you haven't subscribed yet, because I will be putting out many more videos like this one. I don't know what will be here in this area. And for those of you that have already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate every last one of you. And as always, if you want to help me out, all you gotta do is give me a thumbs up on my videos, and feel free to interact in the comment section. Alright, folks. I'm going to check you guys later. Peace.
How big is this town?
So what?
How big is this town?
Let me think here. About 30,000.
I got more dead people than make it longer. It's a huge cemetery.
don't think so.
He's got a nice house.
Huh?
He's got a nice house.
Yeah, it does.
It's a long house.
Go this way. I want to look at something here. mansion.
Freemasons. Or maybe. Hmm. That's the Freemasons.
Oh, they got it fenced off. Let's see. Go straight. Let's see where the fun is at.
That's this is too Hey, that one's for rent.
Yep. Sure is. Feel safe in my vehicle.
That's the first one I've seen for rent.
Dead end.
There's a river over there. Oh, it ends in the river. How convenient.
Okay. Let's see what's in the alleyway.
A car.
It's exciting stuff here.
Very exciting. No parking.
Go straight. here. We'll just circle around. Beautiful.
Sandwich in the road. I don't know for so. I know. Teeny tiny.
That could be your tiny home.
How do you build it? A lot might be perfect though.
Not in this area.
There would be cars. Oh, look at the tiny trailer. I didn't know they made them that small.
That's the office trailer, that's why.
It's still tiny though. What happened there?
I don't know what was there. I have no idea. I've got to get gas. Oh well, I got enough. Would you walk these streets in at night? Huh?
Will I walk here at night?
Yeah. I'm just curious.
I don't think so, no. There's nowhere to walk to.
So what?
There's not even anything. There's nowhere to walk.
Of course there is. Just have been downtown.
Yeah, I've been through the
Right.
downtown before. I walked a lot in Fort Wayne. I mean, you knew, like, if you walked at nighttime, you was heading towards something pretty. Going to the park. Going to go see the bridges. There was an incentive at the end of the journey. That's what I mean about, like, what am I going to walk to? First, I have to have something to encourage me to get out of the house and walk.
Look at all this beauty. That's can't get all this beauty in here. That's why it's always good to drive around, look at a house in person.
Right. It's a nice big one that should be really, really cheap.
I forgot what it was. I gotta look it up later. I think it's 60 or 70 grand. It's not cheap enough in my opinion.
Mm-mm.
All these beautiful houses, that's your incentive.
That's a big building. No windows. Where do the people go to own these places?
So what? They're probably in California or Florida. Turn.
We're right off downtown, right?
Yeah. We're gonna go through downtown. I just want to go through this.